Hello, welcome to this episode of Be Boujee Be Hippie. It's me, Eileen. This is a really special episode because it's the first official video recording. And I know in a month, in 2 months, whatever the timing is, in 3 years, I am going to look back at this and think, oh my gosh, that was so archaic looking. The video was so bad, but you know what? You got to start somewhere. I am so happy to be video recording. I've been saying it for a while. So if you're listening right now, we're going to put the link in the show notes so that you can head over to the Boujee Hippie Health and Wellness YouTube video and you can see my face. I am here in my basement. Today is Tuesday, January 28th, and it's been a minute since I recorded a podcast episode because the kids have been not feeling well and the house has been under construction, and it's all good things. It's just one of the I get to work from home. So sometimes that means that my home is full and busy with other things going on, but I'm very happy to be here right now. Take a deep breath. Just come into this space with me, come into the energy of what we're going to talk about today. And I have a list of podcast topics that I want to talk about. But last night, my friend Amy and her son came over for dinner, and it was really nice. And I love just having deep conversations and sharing, blocks and wins and things like that. So her and I and Jimmy were sitting around the table and chatting, and I started talking about um, like the when of things. And I love creating. I love action. I love doing. Like I am such a doer, and I'm also a dreamer. I'm an air sign, but I feel like so many people can relate to this because if you desire something and you're not already experiencing it in your actual life, it's very easy to question yourself. It's very easy to lack faith in your guides or the universe or God, or even in the path that you're going. And for me, I know it's taken a lot of time to not self-sabotage or to not go all in and then burn out in parts of my life. And so I have found that I always go back to my workout routine, which is, I joke now that the body is, you get the body from doing the workout, but for me, it's for my mental health. And why I started working out was for my sobriety. It was also to exert energy. I had a lot of anger and I had a lot of pain and emotional hurt. So I needed to run it out. But when it comes to bigger dreams and goals, because let's be honest, a lot of us, it's almost easier. So from personal experience, when I was homeless, it felt like it was easier to go from bottom of the barrel to, up and out of it and working and having an apartment. Like it felt so extreme. Like there was nowhere lower for me in that point to go. And so everything felt like a win. Everything felt like an accomplishment. But if you're in this place in your life where you're comfortable, and we will label comfortable as, you have food on your table, you have a job, your bills are paid, your health is, decent enough. Like if you're in this kind of neutral or comfortable phase, it can be hard because good is good. Good is okay. Good is okay. But if you have these dreams and desires and they require a great or a better version of yourself, it can be harder to go from comfort zone or being comfortable to this greater, more inspired, like this bigger version of yourself. So we were talking about that yesterday, and I was saying how I get in these moments, and I definitely know that it is hormone related. So all the ladies like listening out there, if you have these times during a month where you just feel like you're on top of the world and your mind is on your side and movement, and you're in the groove, that you're like, yes, this is the version of me. The other version of me or you, that is also a version of ourselves. But I find myself a few days before my period, I get really hard on myself in a sense of dreams and when things are going to come into fruition. So what I wanted to share today was some downloads, and I free write all the time. I have my journal here. I go through these like 5, I don't know what they're called. Like, they're just big fat journals, and I go through them. I probably do one every like 3 months. So I write a ton. And this is what came to me the other day. And it was, okay, if I know enough that co-creation and manifesting and experiencing my desires, or experiencing your desires, your dreams, your goals, it's a dance between surrender and trust, introspection and action. And it can be confusing, because when you are carving your own path, when you are doing something that you've never had an example of that's been done quite the way that you envision yourself or dream of doing something, it can feel scary and confusing, and there is a ton of unknown. And so I have come to the conclusion over and over and over again, and this is why I call it a dance with co-creation, because there are times that I need to lean on the universe, and there are times that the universe needs me to go ahead and take the first step. And that is the part where I am okay. Like, if you're a doer like me, if you're like, yeah, like action, like I feel comfortable when I'm doing the action work. I feel comfortable when I'm, doing the workouts, or I feel comfortable when I'm making the calls. I feel comfortable when I'm in action. But the part that is scary is, allowing the outcomes rather than controlling the outcomes. And that is where the surrender muscle has to come into play. And I call it a muscle because it is something that we need to strengthen, because if we don't, we will go into old cycles of busyness for the sake of tricking our ego and our mind of, yeah, I'm doing it. So that means that it's coming closer. And, well, if I just sit back, then that makes me lazy, or that makes, I'm not doing enough. And all of that comes up. But if we pause and choose another thought, and that thought being, I surrender. I am going to sit back with ease. I read something the other day, and I thought it was really cool, and a super simple way to explain surrender. I don't like it in a sense of explaining manifestation, but explaining the surrender process of manifestation. It was this: when you go to a diner and you sit down and you order a cup of coffee, you order the cup of coffee and you sit back and you wait, because you did your part. You looked at the menu, you got to the diner, you sat down, you looked at the menu, you spoke to, you communicated with the person, you said what it is that you wanted, and then you trusted that it was going to come to you. You didn't turn around and say to the people sitting behind you, how did you get your coffee? When did you get your coffee? Where did you get your coffee? How did the person make your coffee? Did it really come? How long was it until it came? It was, no, you're not the word festering, like you're not festering, you're not digging it up again. You're not trying to ask everybody how it happened. You're not putting yourself in this tense action phase. You're sitting back because you know that this cup of coffee is going to come. And maybe in the meantime, you take a deep breath and you can start sensing the aromas of the coffee, or you even visualize like, ooh, I can't wait till I get to hold my hot cup of coffee in my hand and smell it. And there's nothing better than that first sip of hot coffee. Like, this is all, tapping into the emotions of the dreams that we have and spending the time sitting back in surrender and really feeling into the goodness of it. But for me, I broke it down and I was like, okay, what is my resistance to surrender? Or why do I feel the need to control the outcomes? And really, when we control outcomes, what we're doing is we're stifling the flow of the gifts and the lessons and the relationships and the conversations and the experiences along the way. So we can actually freeze up or slow down what it is that we want. So how do we get out of our own way? How do we get to a place where we stop trying to control an outcome and really co-create with that fine dance of action and surrender and trust and divine action? And first you have to do this work yourself. And so I sat with this and I sat in meditation for about 10 minutes and I was like, ooh, what is coming up? What is coming up when I think of letting go and surrendering even deeper? And what came up for me was, and I wrote this down, I feel a bit unsafe. Like, okay, so where in my life is it, if I didn't move, if I didn't take the action, did I not feel taken care of? And I literally have a book that I'm writing about it and overcoming that, and instances in my life where I had to move for safety. And so I was like, okay, like that makes sense. Okay, that tracks. That definitely tracks for me. But then what's beyond that? Like, if I know right now my nervous system is safe, like I'm not going to be hurt or I don't have to flee or run, what is underneath that? And it's negative self-talk. That's what comes up. And for me, it was more of an energy and it's like a density. But I remember when the words that went with the pause were like, what are you, stupid? What are you, lazy? And those kinds of thoughts, they arise, and where they were coming from or where I could feel them. This is where I want you to do. This is the exercise I want you to do when you sit. And again, the question is, where am I controlling outcomes rather than allowing outcomes in my life? And how does that feel in my body? So that's the question I asked myself and sitting with this. And then I really felt it in my solar plexus. And if you don't know your chakras, that's totally fine. Quick little side note, your chakras are energy points within your body where we receive, we move energy, we feel energy, we transmute energy. Different pain points or lessons in our life can come from certain energy points. And it's basically a meet. It's a line down the center of our body, but there's so many different energy points. But the main 7 that we talk about are from the head all the way down to the root, like your tailbone. So when I was sitting in meditation energetically, feeling this in my body, what I felt and where I felt it was my solar plexus, which is right, your abdomen, like your 4-pack, it's that strength, it's that determination. And it almost felt like a void in my stomach. Like there was like a pit, like there was this emptiness in my stomach. And I was like, okay, That emptiness is where I'm really lacking trust. The emptiness is maybe I'm not asking before I go and do something. Maybe I'm not asking for support. Maybe I'm not, before you go out and you do anything, are you calling on your higher power? Are you calling on your guides? Are you saying, walk into this room before me, speak through me? Like, put me at the right place at the right time. Like, am I co-creating? Am I asking? Or am I just putting all the pressure on myself? Am I saying I have to do this? It's my will. It's my willpower. It's my determination. It's, if I don't wake up at this time, I'm going to fail. So I need to make sure that like, it's very one-sided. And so I was feeling into that, and I'm like, no way. Like, okay, wow, how clear. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And then the other place I felt it was my sacral chakra, which is your womb space or your creativity, where you birth ideas, where as women, where we host children in our meat suit, in our body. And so I was feeling this warmth, but it was almost like a pulsating, like a little light that was like a glowworm. And it was like maybe the brightness was like a night light, but it was moving, and I could feel it kind of, flowing back and forth like a heartbeat. And I was like, okay, there is something there that is looking to grow, that is looking to expand. And if I don't nurture this part of me more, if I don't let go, I'm not going to be able to give this creativity space to breathe, instead of labeling something as like, I don't have time for that, or that doesn't make sense. That's not part of what I'm doing here. Like, instead of us cinching, stifling, controlling, and counting, thinking that sitting down and writing a poem has nothing to do with the online courses that I'm creating, is a control within myself. And you can use any example in your life, like staying at home with my babies when they're sick and being available for them in that time it's not taking away from my ability to sit down and write. It may not happen in my timing. I may not be able to sit down here at 6 a.m. like I like to and record my podcast episode, but that doesn't mean it's not part of the bigger perspective. It's not part of the flow. And so when I release the control and allow the outcomes and say, okay, this is all part of the grander plan. This is happening for me. There is always something to get, to learn, to experience, to find goodness in when I am out of the need to control. And then I said, okay, in response to this, I am calling on, for me, it was the love and support of the universe. I am going to remember that when I get into these feelings of curmudgeon, or I call it like verklempt, when I feel stifled, I'm going to call on the love and the support. I'm going to ask my guides to soothe me now. And that is, over the years, I've come up with these little prayers that I'll say. I remember for years, my simple prayer was, keep me safe, keep me safe, keep me safe. And this one hit me like a ton of bricks. And when I had asked, like, give me, what is my prayer? What am I asking for? And the words were, soothe me now, soothe me now. Bring me into a space of comfort. That's what I was saying, remind me and give me a feeling of peace. That is when you lose your way, when you find like you can't get back on the line, or your compass is out of sorts and you're looking to get back on that feeling of alignment and goodness and peace and joy and trust in the unknown. use this prayer, use this mantra. Soothe me now. Give me a feeling of peace. Follow the peace. Follow the feeling of peace. That is going to reset. That's going to set your compass back at north. So no matter what it is that you think you need to do, you have a deadline, your dreams are slipping away because you didn't work as hard today as you did on it yesterday, or you didn't work as hard this week on it as you did last week. No. That is one-sided creation. That is what slows us down. That is what stifles us. So coming back north, soothe me now, bring me back to a feeling of peace. Just breathe that in. And then I wrote down another mantra, or it came out of me. And this is something that you should write down too. If any of this is pinging for you, if you feel like you have trouble releasing control, or if you go down, like I call it, the dark alleyway of just self-sabotage, self-destruction, negative self-talk, you kind of rip up the dream and kind of throw it out. You're like, well, that didn't happen yet. Then this is for you. I am closer to my desired outcome when I release the need to control the how, when, and what it should look like getting there. I release the need to control the how, when, and what it should look like getting there. And then when I feel good, I make room for divine direction, inspiration, and motivation. Soothe me now. When I feel good, I make room for divine direction, inspiration, and motivation. So, in very simple terms, if you are doing something and you're doing it with this energy of just anger and lack and fear, stop what you're doing and go do something completely unrelated. Go do something that feels good. Yeah, that even means if you need to make yourself a giant bowl of popcorn, draw the curtains, and put on the trash TV or the show that you've been wanting to catch up on forever, then that is what you need to do so you can come back to a place of ease and peace. When I feel good, I make room for divine direction, inspiration, and motivation. That is what I wanted to talk about today. I can't believe we're on video podcast here. It was kind of weird. I'm not going to lie, like looking at myself while I'm doing this. So, if you or anybody else you know would benefit from this episode or any of the other Boujee Hippie podcast episodes, please do me a huge favor. Like, share, leave a 5-star review, leave a positive comment. I want to take this show all the way. And now that we have video podcast, I am just excited to have more guests on, because I feel like it's important. You know, we want to see what one another looks like. We want to see what's going on. And I can also promise you that when I come on video, sometimes it's just that divine inspiration. And so I have a feeling that more times than not, I will look like a sweaty hot mess because I'll have something to say and I will just need to come on and record it. But yeah, I'm really happy to be here, and I love the evolution of this. I love sharing, and I love hearing your feedback on what you're going through, what you're creating in your life, where your dreams and desires are, where you feel like you are on your journey towards your dreams and desires. Soothe me now. Remind me of the power, love, and support of the universe. Give me a feeling of peace. You are safe to rest. You are safe to pause. You are safe to lean on the universe. That's why I say you are loved, you are supported, and you are so worth it. The ups and downs are part of it. This is not just climbing a mountain and just going up the escalator. There are going to be so many pivots and depths and then really high moments, and it's all part of your highest and best. It is all part of the beautiful unraveling of when you feel like you have created, manifest, experienced what it is that you so deeply desire, you will look back and have so much gratitude for all of the rest stops and the bumps in the road. And it's easier to look back in hindsight and go, oh, okay, cool God, cool source, cool universe, I see what you did there. So if you're in the middle of it, if you're in the middle of the unknown, just keep going. Soothe me now. Maybe take some time to feel into where you feel this in your energy and then explore that more. But I will talk to you in the next episode. Bye.